Welcome back to this YouTube channel. I'm so excited that you are locked in, tuned in, and I'm excited because I have over 1,000 YouTube subscribers and I want to say thank you. I want you to lock in today, like, share, subscribe, and here we grow again. My name is Diamond and this is the place of growth. I'm excited that you joined us because today we're going to have an unconventional conversation. I have my notes here, so just bear with me as I get through this because I got to get some things off my chest as it pertains to leadership principles inspired by Kendrick Lamar. Y'all are going to see probably more personality in this video than you've seen throughout my videos thus far because I feel very strongly about what I saw at the Super Bowl and I thought it was brilliant. And I thought as a leader, you can't help but feel inspired by what was shared in that space. So here we go. I know that I have a lot of sides to me. I am educated. I am very much in a leadership space. I am a businesswoman. I think about all those things, but I also have this unique kind of hands on the pulse of what's happening in culture and politics. All of those things, I I unashamedly say to you and present that as the basis for this conversation today. I make no apologies for it. I guess as I'm getting older, it kind of is what it is. But we're going to talk about how we can grow from this. All right. 5 business leadership principles inspired by Kendrick Lamar. So, the first thing you want to think about, you want to keep it authentic. That's number one. Just as Kendrick's lyrics come straight from the heart, they lead with authenticity. In a world full of pretense, let your true self shine through every business decision. In a world full of fake people, people can tell what's authentic. That's simply what that means. And I think sometimes we are always looking for molds and models and things like that that we're just always wanting to be like, but you got to keep it authentic. I want you to do this. Live in fact and not fantasy. It's the truth that sometimes we can think about where we want to be, we can fantasize over certain things, and we don't live in the facts of where we are, what we need to do, how we need to do it, and where we need to go to make it happen. You got to live in those facts and not fantasy, but you also have to be authentic. I think about this all the time. I came up in a generation that really started off with reality television. That was our basis. We did not get into scripted TV like other previous generations did. Even in our children's shows, it moved from being cartoons to now actual people breaking the mold of sharing things that we've never seen on TV before, but we knew they were happening in real life. And so when you think about authenticity, it's always good to break the mold and think about those things, because if you do not do that, then you become a part of a line of normality that does not scream authenticity, and people will not really care about what you have to share, all because it's mundane. It's the same thing over and over again. You may say, I don't want to live in the facts because when I live in the facts, it makes me cringe. You need the cringe to help you binge, not in a negative way, but to binge better tactics to make your business and leadership style better, right? You cannot build from an unauthentic place. When you try to do that, people know, they can tell. And that's why we're going to get into number 2, which is to craft your narrative. Y'all, let me just flat out say this. Keyword your. I am so tired of the cookie cutter mentality. I can't take it. I don't like it. I don't like the molds. I don't like the way it makes you feel. Be your authentic self and craft your narrative. Own your story. What we saw was Kendrick weaving intricate tales and building a narrative for a brand that resonates, inspires, and sets you apart in the market. Most people don't understand that what sets you apart is not going with the status quo. What sets you apart is stepping out of the mold to say, I'm going to be my authentic self, and efforts to make this happen. The third thing you want to do is turn struggle into strength. I'm going to park here for a second. Channel adversity into innovation. What we saw during the Super Bowl Whether you were familiar with it, I'm going to help you with that. If you're like, hey, I just didn't know what was going on, I'm going to talk to those people in a second. But when you talk about channeling innovation and turning that adversity into creativity, what we saw was nothing new that was happening in this country. It was simply a creative presentation to show the adversity that has been. And so when you think about this, your story, your struggle, you can let that paralyze you, or you can take that as a step to turn into creativity. Let me ask you the question: what irritates you? What gets under your skin? What makes you cringe when you see it or hear it? That is the place that you build from. What about your story are you ashamed of, but you've overcome? That is the place that you build from, so that when you build from there, you're not bound by people. You're not bound by a CEO. You're not bound by a boss. You're not bound by any of that, because you're bound by your own conviction and what you bring to the table. Let me ask you this question: what is true innovation? Because most of us think that innovation is being cool, it's being ahead of the curve, it's being all of that. No, let's scratch it. Let's look at what innovation is today. Innovation is the process of introducing new ideas, methods, or products to create value or improve existing solutions. It involves creativity, problem solving, and the ability to adapt change, often leading to advancements in technology, business, or society. Innovation changes the game. It doesn't just shift things over here, shift things over there, make this a little better, make this a little better. No, innovation says that I'm coming to literally shift the game. And that's what we saw. It wasn't about this person doesn't like me, or this beef, or this. No, it was to say, I'm here to stay. I'm changing the game. And really, if you want to be honest, the game may be over once I come on the scene. That's exactly what he was sharing with the world. And those are the business tactics, mindsets that we can have in efforts to be leading in our area. I want you to embrace challenges as opportunities to grow, transforming setbacks into the fuel that powers your breakthrough. Listen to this: leaders turn irritation into education. Followers turn irritation into resignation. You can give up, go ahead, throw in the towel, but you'll never get better because of it. You got to get to the place where you let your irritation turn into education to help you build better systems, build better community, build bigger business, in efforts to make sure that when you get there, it wasn't because of the money, it wasn't just because of the fame, it wasn't because of the clout. No, it was an internal struggle, an internal irritation that led me to be better, to want to fuel. Every day I wake up ready to solve a problem, ready to shorten the distance between me and that irritation, because I'm building systems for the people behind me to be better. So you got to realize, I'm getting excited, but you got to realize that turn that struggle into strength and channel adversity into true innovation, which leads me to my fourth thing: empower your tribe. I'm going to talk about the importance of this, but I'm also going to actually do it. Empowering your tribe is important because great leaders lift others up. We saw SZA a part of that. We saw a Serena Crip walking, all of that. We saw that because it wasn't just about Kendrick. Kendrick has a killer set. He has a killer set. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Yeah, I'm not saying he's the best in the world, but he's got hits that he could have just went ahead and did it all with him and his background and all of the creativity. But he empowered the people around him in efforts to say, I'm not just going to go in this space by myself, but I'm going to empower others. Great leaders lift others up. Cultivate a culture where every team member feels valued, empowered, creating a collective force that drives success. It drives success. Let me ask you this: are you the smartest one in the room? I'm going to turn. Does your ego feed into you believing that you're the smartest one in the room, subsequently not listening to others? Turn. Those are questions I have for you. Think about it. Not you, maybe your family member, maybe it's someone else. Maybe I'm talking about your coworker. But I want to throw that out there. Leaders don't lead because it makes leaders feel good. Leaders lead to empower others to do the same, if not better. So if this is just about you, your ego, building yourself up, I got to be the biggest one in the room, I've got to be the biggest personality. Here's the thing. If that's what you are, you always going to be that. You're always going to be that. So trying to flex it, showing it, holding others down, being very passive about others' opportunities, whack. All right. Let me empower you for a second. This is an empowering moment. I want to have a candid conversation. This is just my conviction, what I feel as it pertains to leadership, business, all of that. There is a sector of people that are walking around sharing on Facebook, Instagram, etc. conversation that Kendrick has songs that nobody knows. That is the furthest from the truth. You don't know them. And there are moments where you have to come to grips with the fact that I cannot be disgusted with what I don't know. I cannot be disturbed by what I don't know. If you don't know, say that. If you're not aware, say that. Own that. But don't demonize what you don't understand. Here's the facts. You may not have known, but there are people who know. You got to keep your hand on the pulse of what's happening. This man is a star. Some of you are walking around saying you've never heard of him. You've never heard a song. I'm not saying you got to listen, but I'm saying that the people, the world, the culture, they know. They're aware. So while you're complaining about another artist that may have had more relatable songs, those songs were relatable to you, not to the world. What I'm aiming to empower you to do is to think beyond yourself. Think beyond your sphere of influence. Think beyond what you've been exposed to. Just because you've been exposed to it does not make it correct. Does not make it the only thing that exists. Bursting the bubble of islandism to think that you're just walking around aware. And when things come your way that you're not aware of as a business leader, as a leader in general, then it's all wrong. You got to admit when you're just not aware. And when you're not aware, then you educate yourself. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. All right. I've empowered you. I hope you feel empowered. Here's the fifth thing. I'm going to hang my hat here. That's to break the mold. I mentioned it earlier, but I've got to jump in on this a little more. Break the mold. Let me tell you something. I am tired of molds. There are moments where you realize, I talked about this in the beginning, I am a different kind of person, and I'm okay with that. Finally, finally, everything that you've been through, everything that you have experienced, everything that you will experience is all in efforts for you to be authentic. What Kendrick did when he got to a certain level was to bring his authentic self. When you make it to certain spaces, your language may have to change. You make it to certain spaces, the way you present may have to be different. but the essence and the core of who you are will help you to break the mold. Listen to me. I am not interested in being anything that I've seen. I am not interested in just becoming another such and such. Break the mold. It's easy to replicate. It's easy to duplicate. That's the easy way out because you can look at somebody and dress like them, talk like them, speak like them. You can do that because you've got a walking, talking example in front of you. But breaking the mold takes work. You're not always going to be liked. You're not always going to be understood. People are going to question you. They're going to look at you and feel like you're not the person that can do it. They're not going to understand the true essence of who you are. That's why you got to break the mold and be okay with what comes with it. Not interested. Duplicate. If you ever want to irritate me, you ever want to irritate a true leader, come to them with something that's already been done. If somebody else is doing it, why are you doing it? Someone's else, are they already doing the same presentation? Why are you doing it? There's already a person out there doing it. Be your authentic self. Being bold, refine the status quo, push creative boundaries, innovate fearlessly, disrupt conventional business models. Think about this for a moment. I have been educated with what I'd like to think, and this is subjective, at some of the greatest institutions. Proud Hampton grad, proud Princeton grad. In my ambition, I would often read textbooks wondering how relevant that information was to the day I was reading it. I would always think to myself, I'm being taught in 2020 something by a model that was created in the 1800s. The world is shifting. The world is moving on. So some of those examples that y'all are just dying over, see how effective it is for today, for your business, for your leadership style, for all of that. Because it's important to think about. I'll leave with this. Leadership isn't about being liked. It's about saving lives. If you want to be liked, go sell ice cream. Go do something that just wants people to like you. Go do that. But if you want to break the mold, you want to be authentic, you want to be the leading innovator in your space, then it's going to come with some challenges. But the good news is you got it all in you. All 5 things that we talked about will help you continue to be that business leader, the leader in your space. And guess what, y'all? Here we grow again. This was unconventional. Y'all seen a lot of my personality today, but these are the things that I think about. And I want to hear from you. Do you think about these things? Are these things that you're like, hey, yeah, I'm with you? Or you're like, hey, no, I'm not with you. I'm open to it all. Let me know in the chat. Like, share, subscribe. I want to hear from you. And here we grow again. See y'all next time.